Okay, this is breaking exclusive information. We are 8 minutes into the third hour today. Birgitta Jónsdóttir, who led the charge in the Icelandic parliament to say no to the Goldman Sachs looting of her country. They've successfully seized Greece after selling them derivatives. They've also got it through their parliament to create a media haven for internet freedom. We'll talk about that with her. They just had a conference in Europe dealing with the persecution of free speech. I just covered mainstream news in the U.S. where they're arresting people that send emails to senators who annoy them. You get charged with felonies. So that is going on. But Birgitta Jónsdóttir joins us, and we're really honored to have her. She's a member of the Icelandic Parliament for the Movement Party Group chairperson. And we really appreciate her coming on with us. She's on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Environmental Committee, EU Application Committee, Truth Commission Committee, and the NATO Committee. Birgitta Jónsdóttir became a member in 2009 and is now a worldwide leader known for standing up for freedom. Also, when she was on with us last year for the first time, I noticed that Julian Assange, if I'm pronouncing that right, the founder of Wikileaks, was in the background. Jaron was pointing out, I think the Wikileaks founder is in her house. Yeah, there he is. and then now, of course, he's internationally sought. The Pentagon admits they have a task force out. The Pentagon Papers, Daniel Ellsberg, told MSNBC that he had a hit team out trying to kill him, and that he believes there may be a Pentagon hit team out that's been declassified with the Pentagon Papers trying to go after the WikiLeaks founder. And he put out an email 2 weeks ago saying she is now basically his spokesman. And so we're talking to her, and she did work with him, she can say, on the helicopter slaughter video in Baghdad. He's reportedly got hundreds of other things he could release. And I said to her during the break, I said, look, Birgitta, especially you, intelligent, lovely, smart, dynamic, we want you to stay alive. You guys better release everything you got and quick. And she said, I agree. So we'll hear that in her own words. Good to have you here with us.
Well, good to be back.
Okay, I mean, let's go through this, your relationship to WikiLeaks, who Julian is for those that, I mean, he's the guy on television in the black suit with the red tie and the blonde platinum hair, folks, the founder of WikiLeaks. I mean, how this saga has been unfolding. Give us basically a boil down, and then let's start wherever you like.
Okay, well, WikiLeaks became instantly famous in Iceland in August last year when there was an injunction on a story that they had actually leaked. It was an injunction not on our national television, not to broadcast the news about the leak. It was a loan book from one of the big banks. So instead of saying nothing, the broadcaster decided to put a picture of the website on the TV and the URL, and said you can read all about it there. So they became instantly known here and very well thought of. In December, I was invited to speak at a conference about digital freedom, and WikiLeaks was there also here at the Reykjavik University. And they were introducing or discussing an idea about a press haven, or sort of taking the idea behind tax havens and reversing it into transparency haven.
Birgitta, I hate to bug you, but your Skype was down today, or we couldn't connect to Iceland, and your cell phone is I can hear you, but I've got to really focus. Can you try putting the receiver closer to your mouth?
Yep. Is this better?
John, that's better, isn't it? Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so I approached them and said, you know, coming from the background of being a writer, journalist, activist, and one of the pioneers in bringing the internet to Iceland, I approached them and I said, let's do this, because I understood the scope of it, and I understood that every day these basic rights that we sort of take for granted when it comes to freedom of information, freedom of expression and speech are being carefully eroded from us. And like in the UK, they have used, and in Europe in general, they have used the Anti-Terrorist Act to chip away this freedom at such a pace that people don't really realize how much of these freedoms have been taken away from us. And now they've started with all these filtering, using child pornography filters as the reason for filtering out all sorts of stuff, including including Wikileaks. Just heard today.
Well, large wireless networks all over Europe block Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Paul Watson's written stories about that, and they admit in Australia their Chinese net-style censorship program, for those who just joined us, admittedly will use government software to track what you're looking at and blocking things from pro-life groups to environmental groups to local dentists in Australia. And we now know that they have the Cybersecurity Act to do the same thing here in the United States, and the FCC says you'll have a black box at the ISP and in your home. So this is really happening.
This has to be stopped, because if we don't have access to information, how in the world are both the general public and legislators going to be able to take enlightened decisions based on reality? I mean, just like what's happening in the UK is that they have passed all these super injunctions, meaning that journalists cannot tell that they can't tell the stories. And I think this is very serious.
Yeah, they call that a D notice in England, for those that don't know. You may see a cop murder someone, and they'll just issue a D notice. They're issuing a lot more of them now. And similarly, here in the U.S., cops will say you can't videotape what they're doing 100 yards away, and they'll arrest you even though there's no law. They claim it's wiretapping when there's no perception of privacy. So there's a real tyranny here against the new media, and the old media is in trouble and losing its viewers and readers, so it's teaming up with government and corrupt corporations in a perfect storm and openly selling to shut down the true internet.
Yep. Well, we have to fight this on all fronts, and the Icelandic Modern Media Initiative, this proposal that I managed to pass through the parliament with the unanimous vote on June 16th, even the government backed it, is an attempt to sort of put the foot down and also to create a dialogue about what is really going on when it comes to new media. Because most of the media is moving on to the internet, and if we don't deal with the reality and deal with all these weak laws or the fact that so many of these legislations are being destroyed or eroded.
Yeah, if we don't stand up now, it's going to be just like radio 80 years ago when governments took that over and restricted the band. For those that don't know, there's a much wider band. There should be much more community involvement. But with the internet, there's an unlimited spectrum of space, and they're artificially, openly saying, I mean, White House science czar, White House regulations czar, Cass Sunstein openly says he wants to restrict free speech.
Well, I really encourage everybody that care about these things to start the dialogue. I have been actually amazed by the reaction that I've got to this proposal, just as I felt it in February.
And this idea could spread, just like your idea to have free zones for true internet freedom versus everybody becoming like China. You're offering the alternative of everybody becoming like Iceland, just like you're an example of standing up against the bankers.
Well, it's easy to change the Icelandic Modern Media Initiative, the IMI, into the International Modern Media Initiative. So I think I am offering this. Iceland can be the icebreaker, and we can pass this, while I'm suggesting or tasking the government to change 13 different laws in 4 different ministries. And once we've put all that in place, and there's in particularly a very, very important aspect of this as well, and that is we are bringing together all the best legislation from around the world in order to create this safe haven for not only journalists.
Well, Birgitta, respectfully, I want to give you the floor and have you get into that positive thing, but you've got a lot of courage. And let's just get it on record here that Daniel Ellsberg, very well respected, said there were hit teams issued to kill him. He thinks you guys are in physical danger with WikiLeaks. You are the spokesman right now for Julian Assange. And he is being hunted. He just put out an email today through you and through others that he is going back into complete hiding. And the Pentagon says he is being hunted by them, and he's about to release all this. Can we talk about that first, about your role in releasing the copter murder video? We'll play some of that in the background. And then give us any idea on what it is he's about to release that's got the Pentagon so scared. I mean, they've arrested the military officer that released this and are still holding him with no lawyers right now.
Well, just to clarify, Julian Assange, I just acted as a spokesperson for him while he was in hiding in Australia. He has appeared now. He appeared in Brussels last week when we both were attending a seminar at the European Parliament discussing freedom of expression in Europe. So if people want to get hold of him, they can just do that directly through email and stuff like that.
Well, we've been trying to get a hold of him, and he's emailed us back a few times. Can you put in a good word to him to get him to come on this show?
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, I don't feel that I'm in an imminent danger, or, you know, the reason why Julian has been undercover is just being, you know, using common sense and being cautious. We don't want to make it easy for the bastard, to use his own words. But I think it will shake the world, the next stuff that comes out of the Wikileaks. I also want to stress that when it comes to Brad Manning, the U.S. soldier that is in detention in Kuwait and has been in detention